Hello guys, this is Paula and I couldn't sleep, so I decided we'd work on this book and that we probably can get finished hopefully today. Now the first thing we're going to do is, remember in the last video we got all of our papers together and we discovered that our papers aren't as big as the Joann junk mail that I got or anything, but that's okay because it doesn't have to be. We're not looking for anything specific, but normally you would not have this big of an area on the top and bottom after putting your paper in. You would need, like at least 1/4 of an inch on the top and the bottom. Okay, and so what we're going to do first is we're going to get our papers. We got them just like we want them. You're going to put a clip on each end. Well, not each end, but I'll show you. So you're going to do like this. Remember? And, kind of in the center of all the fun. Now I'm going to put the paper clip here. Normally I use the big clips, but this is so simple that we're going to use the big giant paper clips. Okay, just like that. Okay, now if you really want to make sure you got it nice and secure, you can do the other side as well, or other two sides. I do the opposite, and at the same time I make sure everything is down in the corner as well as you can, and then get you a pencil or a pen. Let's use a pen. Maybe you can see it. Now I'm going to remind you where we're at here. This is our Joann Fabrics monthly junk mail, which is a big flyer, and each one of these papers has ads on it for their sale days. Okay, and we decided to make it a folio because this came out, remember? And we added our folio just like that. So this goes up, this goes down. Bring that in, bring this over. And I think we decided to go halfway, which would be right here or right here. And we decided here because we kind of got a little dip right here. And it'll do better on this page. For some reason, I was having a hard time because my mouth was wanting to be dry. Okay, now, first thing we're going to do is poke our holes here. But at the same time, you want to have them right where you want them, okay? Now, you're going to just shove it down and get it as well as you can in there. Now, I made a one template piece of paper here, and it's the same length as the junk mail the flyer ad sales, whatever you want to call it. Now this obviously was made for paper that was longer, okay, so that's not going to work for me. Yeah, because these are too short down here. Now if we make them a little bit shorter, let's say about like this on each end, just come in, a little over 1/4 inch on the seam here. This is where we want it, okay? Now, we've got our paper laying exactly where we want it. And we're going to put this in the very center of our book. Line it at the top and line it at the bottom. Put the word top on the top side of the journal. This is what we'll call it, we'll call it our junk mail journal folio. It's really a folio. Okay, but we can call it whatever we want. I'm in that mood. So whatever you want. Now, we're going to poke holes in these two that I hadn't poked a hole in, because we had holes already in there for the others, right? So I'm going to move the outside flyer out of the way for now, because the main thing is that we get this all nice and center. First thing we're going to do is cut. So I already marked when I did this with this earlier. See, you can see the marks. Let's mark them. Right there, there, and there. I don't know why that one looks a little off, but we'll go with it. All right, so we know that this is going to be our center. We want to get an old book that we use every time that we just beat up with this poker tool. Okay, so I'm going to get lined up here, and I just put all the weight I can with my wrist splint here. My wrist has been bugging me, and I've been wearing it to bed, but not during the day. And I actually got out of bed because I couldn't sleep, remember? Yeah. So now we're going to hold this and not let it move. Okay, we're going to come over here, and we're going to make sure we're in the right spot. Now, we're going to do, this is going to be a one signature. You can do two signatures on something as small as this, but you know what? If I do something as small as what we're doing here, I would, let's see. Let me get this in here first. There, you just want to make sure it's as close to center as you can get. Then we'll be done with the template. Now, old teachers that would teach this would maybe make you put it all together. And it's okay. Either way's right. Whatever works the best for you. Now, I'm just doing it the easiest, quickest way, so you don't have to sit here and be bored the whole time. So now we have our holes right on the spine, which is where we need them to be. This really could have gone up a little bit. See, this is the music sheet. If you look, there's a big difference, but that's all right. We're still within the bounds of what we needed to be. So what I'm going to do is, now that we know that we have this mail, junk mail here, we're going to go ahead and take our flyer. Now our flyer is going to be a little bit, we're going to use our pen this time to mark our flyer. The flyer is going to be a little bit shorter. And so what I'm going to do is just mark it right here. Lay it right there and then mark it right there. Now hopefully everything will go fine. And remember, we're going to be using this first. Oops, it just moved a little bit. Let me make sure I got it in the right spot. Right there and right there. Let's try this again. Okay, so we want to make sure it's right in the seam of the spine, and it is pretty much. And I'm just giving it a little mark here and there, and I'm looking to make sure everything marked. It's hard to see, but both of these did also right there. Okay, now remember, this book is not square and perfect like you would probably use for a journal, right? But it's good enough for what we're doing. Now we've already poked the holes in the other portion, so let's go ahead and get them poked here. And since we got it marked on here, we can go ahead and just, now I put it in that hole and it's going to go straight through. Now I'm going to put it in this hole and it's going to go straight through. Now see, this is really simple because it's so thin, but there's nothing wrong with that because, you know, it's going to look like it's not perfect because this isn't square, right? And so we have every reason in the world not to have it be perfect. But I want to make sure that the holes go all the way through like that. And it's okay, cuz that little piece of paper there is not a biggie. Okay, so we're going to move this, move our template, put our book back because we're not going to need that. We're done with our awl, so safety first. So I'm going to put the cap back on this. And I'll tell you, this is not the easiest awl. So I had to use my choppers. You just grab hold and pull it straight out. Normally, I could do that, but I'm a weakling. Okay, as we've, you know, discovered over time. Okay, so now we're going to get our thread with a big hole and a blunt tip. Although this is a little sharper than most of them are, okay? But we're going to use it anyway. Where did our string go? Now, we want to use 3 times the amount, okay, of the height of the book. So we start right here, and we go like this. That's 1, 2, 3. If you want to add a little bit, just to be sure you have it where you want it, that's up to you. I've done it so many times, I feel like I'm really close. Okay, here's our needle. I kind of cut my thread at an angle when I'm going to thread it like this so it's easier. And then sometimes it doesn't matter. It's not easy at all. But pretty much it is. As long as your tip is, the tip of your needle is large, and it is. It's just, I'm also blind, weak and blind. What else could I say? I might have to use my teeth. No, I'm kidding. I have a threader. It's just that it is. Let's see. Let me get in here and cut it again. I just, you know, once you've worked at it, it will fray. And honestly, you guys, it's late. So I don't know if that's because of the bright lights, you know, the fluorescent stuff. And okay, so here, go down in there. Any other time, I kid you not, I can't remember ever having this much trouble. Or I just don't remember. I need to get it down where I can see a little better, probably. My needle is sliding, so I'm trying to find a place to hold it straight. Get in there. You are just being stubborn. We'll do the other end. Maybe there's something wrong with that end. Do you think? Let me see which end's which. There's the other end. It's much smaller. It will go in, I'm sure. Should I even be saying that? Probably not. Because you know how it works. Once you say it, it's impossible after that. Come on, needle. Open up and let the little thread in. It's not so little, but good grief. So I'll tell you, this is the only needle I have used since the day I started binding books. It's been this one. And, you know, I may have had a couple times I had to put it down and come back later. But pretty much, I get it in there. I'm really close right now. Dang. Should I be embarrassed? I'm not. Nothing really embarrasses me. Okay, there we go. It's getting it at the right angle where I can see perfect, which, you know, we weren't at, obviously. Okay, now we've got it threaded, and we're going to bring down a, you know, not quite half. Okay, and we're going to we've got it all lined up here, and we're going to make sure we're at the same height at the top as we are at the bottom. Now we're going to start right here. We do not put a big knot in the thread, okay? And you do not pull it all the way through. Now, we're going to make sure we're in the hole. We're not clipping everything together here because this is going to be fairly simple. See? Fairly simple. Now, when we come back the other way, we might not say that, right? Sometimes I have to get out the big tools. I try not to, but I've gotten it out before. Now we're going to go in here. The reason we're doing this before we put our fabric on is because we want it to cover up this spine, which, you know, it's trash, right? That's becoming a journal, and, you know, there's no perfection to it, okay? All right, so there we go. Now I'm just going to hold this, kind of tighten it by holding both, and I'm going to cross this, the one with the needle over, and go in through the bottom hole here, and find the hole in the actual folio. Okay. There we go. Now, what's critical when you bind your book? The thing that is critical is that you get, let me get all the thread through here first, but just don't pull it out from the other end. Okay, so now we've got it all out right here. Now make sure you don't let it go back through that crazy needle. Okay, so now we're going to come back up and through the same hole in the middle, which is not perfect by no means. Now the key here is to go back up through the same hole, and it's all right if you have to kind of pull it out a little bit. And look, I do that all the time. That way you don't have to worry about it getting snagged on the other thread when you come back through the back. I have done it. I just take it apart and redo it. It's not, you know, gonna be that big a deal. I'm getting my needle off of my thread and putting it back on my little piece of blue paper that's been there since the beginning of time. Put it back in my little box. Now, where is my, just a second. I had to have a drink. Okay, so you want to make sure this string and this string are very tight. This little thing poking up right here will glue down in just a minute. And let's see, this is our top, so we want to come back around like this. Make sure you have your top. It really doesn't matter, but I always like to. Now, I'm going to tighten this, and you look on the outside and make sure it's tight. Then you're going to tie a knot to the right, and then tie a knot to the left. I think they call that a square knot, right? I do one of each. So I do a total of 2 when I have a good strong string. And then we're going to slide off our giant paper clips. Put them back in their little container. Now, and look, we've even got enough for beads if we decide to put beads on there. I really doubt we do, but I would love to Mod Podge this whole cover, but I think it would be kind of hard with this paper in it. You never know, though. I might just come back and do it after the video and see what it looks like, because I'm curious. No, I probably will not. We're about to get our Fabri-Tac, okay? And now what we're going to do with this is we're going to glue that little flap down right here that I was worried about, which isn't going to matter because we're about to, you don't get it on your string, you just get it on your paper. We're about to put the fabric on. Now, I didn't iron the fabric. I didn't fray the fabric because it's already this width right here. I thought it was a good color, and it's even. It does amount to 2.5 inches. Okay, really, it could have been a little smaller, and I would have liked it better. Now, it was pinking shears on the sides. I'm going to leave that. It's a type of design, right? We'll call it that. And then we're going to line this all up even on the front and on the back. And as I always say, get it straight on both ends. And use your fingers. Use your fingers to paper press your fabric. Not paper, press. Finger press. This is our fingers. We're pressing and we're making that seam more prominent. Okay, now, got to make sure which side's up. This side's up. It's got 2 little flowers. And so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to line it up on here, right? And we know we want to make sure it's exactly the right height. Now, I think what we're going to do is stitch this before we glue it down. It'll give it a little bit more class. I'm going to bring the sewing machine over, tilt it just a tiny bit. Can you guys see? Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good, right? So we're just going to take the thread by itself. And I'm not sure about this outside. I think I'm just going to do it down that front and the back. Zigzag, okay? And so you'll want to, if you don't, I'm not going to zigzag back stitch with it because I want to tie it off. It'll look nicer. Just allow yourself a little bit of room right there. I'm just using the brown thread that was in my sewing machine already. Because with this, there's really nothing. I mean, I could have used a peach color or a gray color, but why? What's the big deal, you know? The brown will almost look black, okay? Now we're going to pull this out, and I'm going to allow enough to stitch both ends. And we'll do that after we've done the other side. Okay, but it's looking good, see? Looks pretty darn good to me. Okay, now we're going to go back up the other way. And let me make sure I'm in the right spot. Okay, I think that's good enough. Now, there we go. This came off of one of those big quilt circles, you know. Well, it's actually, you wrap the pieces around and around and around, and you're supposed to be able to make a quilt out of it. That's what this came out of. Sometimes you can buy those, and you can get several different colors in it. It's better than buying a whole lot of different colors off the bolt. Okay, now, I'm going to push this back. I'm going to pull you back down, okay, and push this back over. Now, we've got our little thread, and so what I'm going to do is just double tie this, okay, and then trim off any excess or leave it hanging if that's the style you like. I'm just going to trim it off because it will drive me crazy if I don't. Do things like that bug you? It depends on what I'm looking for. And sometimes it's hard to, you know, tie this little tiny thing, but no problem. All right. Now, okay, that took forever. One more. Not the easiest thing to do, but I'm cutting that off there, dropping my thread to the other side, and repeating the same process on the other end. Sometimes your brown just wants to be brown and left alone. And so, let me see. Okay, right here. These two go together. I can get both of them out. There we go. Now, I'm going to tie it around. Come back through the loop. There's one. And we're going to be doing the second one, if I can find where the end of it is. Okay, there we go. Let's get it through. And we missed it, so we're going to have to go back through again. There we go. All right, I'm going to cut off that end. One more to tie. And then it will be done and ready to glue onto the book. Now you could have left it. You could have left it without putting any kind of zigzag or anything on it, but I decided it might look a little cleaner. Cleaner meaning sharp. Sharp meaning better. I don't know. I'm just being funny. Or goofy in the middle of the night. That's what we can call me. Goofy in the middle of the night. Okay. Now I think we can actually trim this and toss any leftovers in the trash. Okay. Get my shoe back on. Turn off the sewing machine because we are done with the sewing machine, right? And scoot it back out of our way. Now, gonna get our Fabri-Tac. Now, the thing that's important about Fabri-Tac is you can overuse it. So what I would say to you is be careful, don't overuse it. Okay? Now, we have our seam still right here. And we're going to put it right like this. Our flowers are in an upright position. Going to line it up. Top to bottom, bottom to top. And I recommend that you glue the front first and put it on the actual book instead of on your, I mean, this is just the right size. Do you know what I mean? Could you have gotten any closer, Paula? That's a joke. For you did get too close, really. But now this is going to come quite a ways out. It's because I didn't want to cut it. Now, if you wanted to be perfect, you could cut this a little shorter. I kind of like letting people know it's actually there. Now, I'm going to put a strip of glue right here. And I'll tell you, regardless, and I'm going to kind of go in little circles, because I know that my my fabric is going to, I'm not squeezing a lot. It's just a little bit coming out. I just want to make sure I'm kind of smoothing it out with the tip of my glue. Now, there we go. Now we're going to kind of make sure both ends are like we want them. And then we're going to pull this over. And at the same time, we want to make sure the back is also where we want it. So I'm kind of keeping it right here on this seam. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's what I'm doing. Now, the main thing is that you get it straight. You want the front to be straight for sure. If the back's a little crooked and you don't care, it is junk mail. Yeah, so now we're going to flip this over. And I'm going to kind of push here so that front part is down, but it's perfectly straight. Now, I say about as perfect as you can get it. Now, remember, I'm not going to put glue probably along this seam, maybe a tiny bit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of flip it up a little bit and keep it close and just maybe touch a little bit of glue here and there. If you notice my glue did not go through, that's because I kept it. I don't want it to go in these holes, by the way, just along this little spiny area. And what I'm putting on here is not super, it's not super thick. And that's why it didn't go through on the other side, because it really isn't that thick. I'm just kind of putting a little tiny bit on here, keeping my tip pretty flush. Now, we're going to make sure this side is still down. I don't know where I thought it would go. And then you're just going to kind of pull it around. You want to make sure it's kind of tight around there. It may not be perfectly straight. It's not bad at all, actually. Now, we don't have to look at that, you know, spine. And because this, it didn't have, let's admit it, it didn't have a beautiful spine. And that was because it was junk mail. Okay, but we're going to clean it. We're cleaning it up and making it look better than it was. Now, if you have anything leaking out these sides, just make sure you look and clean it up now. Okay, and check the other side. I don't think there's any, but it's a good time to check. No seepage. Okay, now, so we're at the end of doing that. See, everything's in nice and straight. Now, do you have any like that? We do. So this is what we're going to do. Going to kind of flip the fabric over, and we're going to make sure we're getting this edge down. So you want to put a little bit of glue right there. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the fabric, or if you prefer, you can put it on the book. I might sprinkle a little bit on both. I'm trying to not go crazy with the glue. So far, we've been lucky. We didn't have anything, you know, fall through the cracks. Ha, ha, ha. Now I'm kind of pushing it out. I'm about halfway past the center, or about to the center, halfway through the spine. And you just do the same thing again. Now, make sure you put a little bit up here on the edges. Same thing here and here. All right, so you might get it on your fingers. No biggie. Just try to not get it on the cover if you can keep from it. Now, you might get a spot here and there of your front portion here. I'm getting it on my hand. So, gonna take the wipey and wipe it off. All is well. I'm feeling goofy in the middle of the night. Do you guys ever feel goofy in the middle of the night? No, I'm not being goofy. I promise. Okay, now I did get some right here. So I'm going to just take my finger, wipe up what I can. Okay, and then kind of straighten this back out. I just don't want to puddle out on the front here. So everything on the front looks nice, okay? We don't have anything seeping through that I'm aware of. Yeah, it's all right if we get a little bit of fraying from that side. No big deal. Now, I'm going to open this out. And let's see, where are we going to go? Right there. Now, I'm going to turn it like this so you can see maybe better. We're going to have another little flap right here. So you're going to put some on the fabric and a little bit straight under the fabric. And at the end, you want to make sure that you're getting plenty to hold that edge down. You don't want to overly soak it, because that's when it comes through and you are just not happy, because you've already made all the ephemera. You've done all the cool stuff. Yeah. And now you're going to pull from the back of the spine, or from the spine toward the back of the new junk journal folio. New folio, not junk journal. Now, I got that most of that glue off of me. I don't really want to get it on my wrist splint. Excuse me. I'm going to take this off because I don't need it while I'm working. I just forgot to take it off. You know how that is, right? Okay, now let's make sure this end is down. It just got really sore and tender today. And I just put it on this evening and went to bed with it on and really just played games. I know. What can I say? Solitaire, you know, all the usuals. Okay. Now we're going to make sure we don't have, like, see, there's glue right there. I can feel it. So how glue got way over there, I must have had some in a puddle on the mat. Not much, just tiny little bit right there, see? And because my mat is new, I guess Amazon had a sale. I was on there getting some paperwork. Not paperwork, but like paper. And anyway, long story short, I got it for a good price. All right, here we go. Now, I'm going to look and hold this in the light. If you hold it in the light, you can see any place that it might have came out a little bit, and you can fix it. Now, if it keeps feeling like it's sticky, you know, outside of the fabric cover, just get your powder puff, your little powder pillow, and just kind of go over that, and it will take up anything sticky off of here. One of the things I love about doing simple books, right? You can do simple books, simple things, and yeah. Okay, so we got the spine on. I'm going to close the glue. Now, what we're going to do, let me move the binding material and set it across the room. I'll be right back. Don't want it in the way while we're working on other stuff. Okay, just a second. All right. I'm setting it back on the shelf. Okie doke. So, the next thing, well, I say the next thing. It's not really the next thing we're going to do, but close. We're going to, I thought we would make some pockets. You know, why not? And then after we do that, we might even make some ephemera. Not much, but, you know, we don't want it to be overly stuffed. And I'm thinking, before we do that, we need to ink. Now, I know we didn't make a big deal about inking. We've already trimmed everything down nicely, right? And let me get this glue fuzzes, or glue string. That's what I call it. It was distracting me. Okay, I see a little bit right there. It's nothing. Okay, now we're going to add some ink. Now, don't go crazy, Paula. I'm just going like this. Normally, I would hold that separately, but I don't really mind, because this way I can see, you know, if I like what it's looking like. Now, I'm going to lift up this one panel and just take it off the second panel so that I can add my ink. Now you want to get your ink on the very edges like this, because that is where you will see the guts of the book, right in this corner. So we're going to open it, and we're going to do a little bit on the inside here. Now, mostly where you're going to get some effects of this here is going to be on the paper itself, because your spine is already on and covered. And if you look here, you can also see that it's black. So I'm just trying to get ink up on the paper. Yeah, there we go. And we're going to do it up here. And if you notice, you're not going to see it on the black. You're going to see it on the white portion here. Okay, now we're going to flip it over. In the process, we're going to get along the sides, just like that, which is probably close to the black as you can get. I'm not putting a whole lot on the edges, just a little so that you can tell we did it. Okay. Okay, put some right down here. Now, I'm not doing it down the center of the spines, just, you know, sides, tops, and bottoms. And I'm just putting enough on here that I can see that it's the amount I want it to be, or it's not the amount, whatever you're looking for. Okay, now we're getting closer. Now we're not going to ink the pages just because of time. And I put quite a few pages in there. But if you had paper in there, let's say, that was a digital ink, and you decided, you know, you didn't want to get anything on it, you could just avoid doing it or come back and do it later. Okay, here we go. This is our center, not the center, but a center, okay? There is, believe it or not, several centers. I get this little tall part right here. Gonna go down the seam. This kind of hangs over a little bit, which gives it that fun look. That fun book, a look of aging, right? Okay, now flip this around. We got part of it here, it looks like. Boy, I got off on that one spot. Okay, so now I just noticed a little bit of paper that is not stuck down. Where'd it go? I just saw it. There it is, right there. See? So you could tear that off, but you run the risk of, you know, messing the whole thing up. To me, it's worth it just to hunt it down and glue it with some glitter glue. Now, hopefully, it will stay down without any problems. I'm trimming off that little tip right there. Put your needle back into your... Oh, what do you do with it, Paula? Do you do this too? Just nothing else around? But you got to put something on top of the glitter, the glitter glue. Okay, now we got that portion. Let's go ahead and ink the rest right here. Yeah, there we go. Now I'm going to go like that, like that, like that. Flip it over here. Now we're getting closer to the folio portion of it, or the area that we're going to flip pages in and out. Now, we're not going to, you know, get characters out or anything like that. I mean, it is your book if you're making it. So I guess this is my book, right? And I can do and play with it however I wish. That's what my mom would say, if it's yours. Now we're going to do the top here. This is the page that, you know, just acted up, but that's all right. I'm going to put a little bit along this outer seam. If you do it too big, it may not look so hot. There we go. So we're going to do right here. I love how easy the inking has been. Now, a lot of people would ink before they do it. Oh, not you, huh? Okay. There's been some people who has done similar things like this. Not necessarily a Joann's flyer. And, you know, ends up not being so. We're going to come back and do this. Let me get the back. Right here, we're going to get this back. And then we're going to bring it back around so that the lady can take it back to Mrs. Flynn. Okay. So Dr. Flynn is in charge. That is, you know, if we had a Dr. Flynn who does surgery on our folio. I know I'm crazy tonight. I am awake. I am conscious. I am not crazy at this moment. I'm just being silly. I'm just seeing if you're awake. I'm just seeing if you're awake. Now we're going to go ahead and go around the folio the best we can. Make it look as nice as you can right here. That way, we can also do up here on the top. And then on the edge. Now, I love this. I love the way this is turning out. I hope you guys are too. It is ending up way easier than I expected. When I looked at it, I thought this isn't going to be square. I don't know if I'll be able to bind a book or whatever, you know. And it's all been a breeze, right? I'm going to give a little bit right here. It looks like we need to tack down some of that. Let's go this way. Put a little bit of glue right here on the other side. Now I'm going to get this nice and edged. And then go around. There we go. And now we're going to do the outer portion one more time. So, one more side right here. So I'm thinking, help me think, how do we want to do pockets? Do we want to just add like just square tables or what? What do you think? I think we need to make some kind of impressions is what I kind of think here. And I don't mean gaudy and all that. I just think we want to make sure everything is stitched down. Now, I'm looking up here to make sure. How in the world oh, I'm knocking the bowl over. I didn't even realize it was down. Okay, we may end up having some of those clips in here. Maybe not. Okay. Just these little loose things right here. You want to make sure whatever you're gluing here, you leave this open until it has a chance to dry. It can be, you know, it won't take that long. Because most of this is already dry. Okay. I want to get it. I know that it's going to be kind of ruffly right there because I got I got it a little long on the Folio flip, which is odd because, you know, usually this type of thing doesn't go perfect for me. Usually if it's an envelope, I'm tearing things or whatever, but yeah, not cool. So no, was it yesterday? Monday the 15th. I may have told you guys this already, so excuse me if I did. Yeah, I know I did. I know I had to have told you about the Metro something, old things, you know, kind of like a great big estate sale. And you just come and shop. And the first day, it all starts out, some of it's will end up being $2 when it's already 50 cents or $1. And then when that portion of being in trouble gets done and is able to come down and decorate their part, then the other portion, yeah, would be decorated as well. So, all right, so I think we've got both of those stitched nicely. If we see anything else start to tear this corner, you know, your corners can get weak, like right here, see? Now I'm thinking it's just, it has gone through the, let Mr. Bynum, I'm being Mr. Bynum right now, Mr. Technology, figure out, he's in bed asleep, just so you know. We're not getting any help from him. Okay, so it is kind of lifting a little bit right there. So all we have to do is put some glue right there. And I have the fine tip, which will work great. Now, I will tell you, when you do a fabric spine cover here, and I'll show you what I mean just a second. I'm going to get some glue down in there. I don't want it to come apart on us. Now, we're going to have a little bit of glue poking out too. So, it's never perfect when it's junk. Okay. I'm just going to kind of close it that way and let it kind of dry and get any liquidy stuff coming out. Okay. All right. So if we wanted to, we can add a little piece across there. And because I don't want it to crack after I do it, I'm going to get a piece of something and glue across there. So give me 1 second while I pick out something that will look nice with the pages we've already used. I don't want to tear a whole page, but I will tell you, we've got, where'd it go? There's some blue. That might not, oh, here's what we need right there. I should have known I still had some, right? So we could put it right through here. And my tear tool is right here and all handy. Whoops, excuse me. My mushroom labels just kind of went flying. So we're going to trim off of this section first here on the end. Try to keep my hands down where they're a little bit, you know. Let's see, how much do I want to put there? Let's put about this much because it is, as time goes by, it's getting longer here. Now I'm going to get my glue stick. We want it to go down the same way as the others did. And we're just going to put glue on the back. Okay. All right. Now, let's just put a little bit right across here. And we're going to make it look like it was meant to be. You'll never know. I'll never know. We'll never know. Because look, it's going to look so real. I'm going to fold that over. And I think it's going to be perfect. There we go. Do you agree? So what I suggest we do is I think we need to flip through it and make sure it's not the only place. Or it is the only place. So this is... Okay, that should go on the bottom. That goes on the top. The easiest way to know is that your folio back page is single. And is wanting to meet someone and oh, I'm sorry you guys, I'm just goofy. I was watching a show or something. Oh, I know what it was. And it had these two ladies, and I can't even think of the name of it. Two ladies, and one decides that she wants to meet someone. She's older and she's lonely and she wants to meet someone. And so she tells her friend that, you know, they had kind of swore to each other they would never do that. And so she finally tells her friend she's met this person. Oh my goodness. It was chaotic in this movie, but I can't remember the name of it. There's probably a bunch just like it, right? Okay, so we're going to use our glue stick because this is kind of loose right here. And no, that's not it. That's the one we just did. Okay, I could see it was bending right there. Okay, so these two pages are fine. And I'm going to fold that in. And we're going to go back through here. And the nice thing is, if you throw in a piece of paper like the spine and the book has on it, and give her a couple purple butterflies, her as in whoever decides they want to have this book, it may end up being a business book for me. Who knows? Check this side to make sure. Yeah, that was the only place. Awesome. So I'm thinking maybe as we decorate this, we'll add some birds. What do you think? I think it would look cute with little birds on it. I mean, we've got bumblebees and butterflies. Why can't we have birds? We got all this stuff flying in the air, and we for sure know that birds are a big part of that. So I added some extra ephemera too, like this floral and the butterflies and the doily. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You can bring things, you know, in like you would like. I'm afraid, I could not ever be, I'm afraid of bumblebees. I'm afraid of wasps. And fiddleback, I think is what the spider is called. I don't like it either, because it will literally rot your skin. Okay, so I'm talking about the brown recluse. Okay, so we're at 58 minutes. Dang, that took forever, didn't it? But now you think about what we've done. We have put our paper into our journal, right? And then we also touched up any parts that needed some security on them. And then we went around and we inked the whole thing. And so we're really at a good spot to stop anyway and pick up where we can decorate our junk mail folio. Cool. We've got a book going on here. And then we bring it out. Boom, boom. I wished I had a dozen of these. I've got a couple other things I think they'd be fun to use these on. And I'll tell you sometime if it happens. I'll let you know. All right, guys. I hope you had fun. And I think this is part 3 or 4. Let me look. I have to look in my nifty little book here that keeps track of all my videos. It's not something you usually see. All my chicken scratch here. My husband gets in here and does his own little thing, and it can drive me crazy. I don't see, I guess he put that in. He did up these cute little forms. Let me show you what they look like. The form. YouTube video form. So there's 2 to a page. And so, yeah, see? Tells me what, what I need, information I need to give him. And then he uploads it to YouTube. And all the dates and times and what's been done is on here. Isn't that cool? So, I was looking to see if this was going to be part. So it's going to go over here. Folio part 1, part 2. Then Folio part 3. Folio part 4. So we will have 5 parts. Just like we did with the Tim Holtz. I had to stop and think for a minute. The Tim Holtz paper, the 6x6 paper, which I loved that series because I love to get to use his paper. And it doesn't always work in every book. All right, so I could just go on and on running my mouth, and we don't want to do that. We want to get to the next part. So you guys come back and watch part 5, where we're going to decorate it with some pockets and so forth, and hope to find something that will match up and look nice. Maybe like solids for the pockets, since the background is so floral. And we'll see. We'll see. And we'll ink as we go on this portion. And we'll need tags and all that sort of thing. So, if you have registered or subscribed, I should say, to my channel, hooray, thank you so much, and welcome. And I want to thank all the new subscribers that I know nothing about, but I'm excited you're there because my number grows, and I know that because that number is growing, you're there, growing along with us on different procedures and techniques in crafting. All right, guys, I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.